stream. Watch it, but I can't even hear me speak. It's basically my background music. So I took the time to actually test it and see what the best volume is for my recording versus my background music, and I think this is the best one. At least you can hear me. I guess unless, you know, people don't want to hear me speak, then whatever. But, I mean, this is a live stream. I think it would be more interesting to see drawing and hear someone talk in real time. So, yeah, anyways. The first video, I was trying to explain how to draw a person's face, and I thought if you could hear me at all, I thought I was doing an okay job about describing what my process was, but after seeing the recording, I realized, oh no, I don't have any say in this video because, once again, you can't hear me. So, what I did instead, basically what I did was I was explaining, okay, you take your a brush or your drawing, whatever, and you kind of just draw a circle. I'm gonna do a quick redo of this because clearly, and it's not gonna be as detailed, of course, but I mean, basically what happened was draw a circle. This is gonna be the base of your the basic shape that you're gonna draw of your skull, and you know, this is where your brain is, and an eye line. My friend actually brought up a good point that she used where your iris would end up being. It's interchangeable. You could this one right here, or what I generally tend to do is have the line right in the middle of the eye. She has it right above that. I mean, it's a marginal difference. I guess it really does. It depends on you as an artist. But that's, I mean, the whole point of that line is to know where the eyes are gonna go. So, yeah, you know, that's just it. Anyways, so, at least for this drawing right here, this drawing right here, I was drawing the head at a 3/4 view. This person was facing towards the left, and this is yeah, this is where, damn it, this is how the person was supposed to be looking. I don't know. Anyways, yeah. And then I drew the center line of the face. I mean, the head that I was drawing when the person was looking to the left, I was saying how generally when I draw these lines, the center line and the eye line, I generally like to have them curved. Depending on, obviously, where the person's looking, what the perspective's like, but I generally draw it curved. Some people don't. Even if the person is looking to the left, right, up, or down, it's just kind of like a crosshair. Just to know where the center is and where the face is supposed to be, but, you know, personal preference again. In my opinion, I like to draw. You'll know where everything is, but you'll also be reminded that it's a 3D figure. It's supposed to be three-dimensional. Wow, Judy, if you're listening. Okay, that's cool. That's not making me self-conscious at all. Okay. Anyways, talking in real time. Shout out to Judy because she's listening to me while I'm doing this in real time. Yeah. Okay. You can choose draw it curved. So I know it's a three-dimensional figure, and the center line, because it's supposed to be where your nose is, which is the highest point on your face, it's obviously gonna curve when you face left or right. If you're talking about the average, I don't know, average. It's not size. I don't know how to explain it. It's, I mean, from the point of your forehead to the tip of your nose. That's, I mean, the average. I guess, I don't know, distance or some points of contact. I guess, yes, points of contact. That's, I mean, that's gonna be the curve. So that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so, I mean, personal preference, whatever. So, dang it, I erased my example. Okay. So, anyway, so I was trying to, so I drew the cranium shape, which is the circle. Then the eye line. Wow, that's not the eye line. The eye line. And the center line, which tells you where the middle of your face is, or where your nose is gonna go. Yeah, so, by the way, Judy, your stuff is really good, and, I don't know how weird it would be to try to record you working, but you should do it. She's texting me, while we're both doing work, and, if you don't know her, you should check out her work. Just look up Judy Wong on Behance and Behance.net. If you just look up Behance Judy Wong illustration or judywongillustration.com, you'll probably find her. She has like really good stuff, guys. You should check it out. And I'm plugging her in right now because she's watching. So anyways, but yeah. Let's see. Center line. Okay, center line. The eye line. Cranium shape. So, right. So, I was explaining that, like my first example, but generally at the bottom, at the 1/3 of your face, it's gonna be, your face is gonna be divided into, I guess, 3 parts, kind of. Okay, so this is the oh damn it. So this is the eye line. The bottom, the nose, the bottom where the bottom of your nose is gonna be, that's gonna be line 2, and line 2 where your face is gonna be. And so because this is a straight on view, you're just gonna have the nose right here. Another 1/4 of the way down, because then between your eye and the bottom of your nose is gonna be the second 1/4. 3rd 1/4 is gonna be from the bottom of your nose to the chin. And so you can see that there are 4 different parts of your face. The center line Whoops. Okay, so the center line is obviously showing you where the middle of your face is. And but it also lines up. Wait, where am I going with this? Okay, well, I mean, it's the center of your face. I don't know what I was trying to say. But okay, so the last quarter, what? Right. So the last third. I don't know why I'm confusing my 3s and 4s. Hold on. Okay, so this is the last third of your face, from your nose to your chin. The middle of that is going to be where your lips are. The 2.5 line. And so, anyways, between the bottom of your nose and the bottom of your chin, that's for men. Generally, the men and women, I guess it depends on what kind of face shape you're going for, but generally that's where your jaw is, the entire jaw line, I should say. From here, is where your cheekbones are, and where all of your cheek is going to be, the side of your face. So, I mean, it's going to be, these are your cheekbones. I also went into detail about, you know, like subtle curvatures and differences in eye shape, facial features, and all that other stuff depending on ethnicity. But I think that's a given. I don't know if I should. So, generally, your face shape, where all the parts of your face are going to be, your ears. When I was trying to explain in the first video, is that your ears, the top of your ears are going to start where the eye line is, because they're actually in line with your eyes, and the bottom of your ears are going to be where the bottom of your nose is going to be. I actually made this nose kind of long, but you know, whatever. Yeah, so what's happening is that I'm just giving you the general layout of what your face is gonna look like. Not supposed to, I guess. Kind of supposed to, I don't know. But generally that's what's supposed to look like, I guess. And the shapes, the size, you know, it obviously it's gonna change depending on your style, and I think that's what gives your characters kind of that personality. You know, if your ears are really big and very high up or something like that, it's gonna give the appearance of kind of a goofiness or that weird silly. It gives it a different shape, an outline, a different silhouette, I guess. And that's really important when drawing people, is that not everyone's gonna look the same. They shouldn't look the same, because other than twins, triplets, quadruplets, and those of the similar genetic makeup, they shouldn't look the same all the time. Even then, twins don't generally always look the same. I think it's also weird that I remember there was an article about a Colombian, or like some kind of, there are these twin ladies who wanted to look closer to each other, look more like each other, so they got plastic surgery. You know, I guess do you, but you know, like I don't know how close you can be to looking like each other if you're already twins. I don't know. I guess just, I don't know, shave both your noses to look the same, and I don't know. Okay, anyways. Point being, it's gonna end up being everyone's gonna look different. All your people, at least when it, for me personally, I really can't draw the same person like more than once, maybe twice if I'm lucky, but generally it requires a lot of effort because when I'm freehanding people, I just draw whatever features come to mind that day or whatever I generally like to favor. It's not planned. So when I have to draw for a like an animation or something, I have to be more observant and I have to be a little more conscientious of what the character is supposed to look like. And I don't like doing that all the time. I just want to draw people and I don't really care. But you know, it happens. I mean, to be a serious, I guess, artist, sometimes you have to bite the bullet and do something consistently. But Judy's nice. She's too nice. Yeah. Okay, back to the point. Your character isn't always gonna look the same. That is the best reference point you can get. You should always think beforehand how you want to draw this person. I'm sorry. Whoa. I ate ramen today. And I had lemonade with it, which was a bad combo. Okay, so yeah, so drawing the person, you know, it's always gonna depend on whether or not you want to make him or her look a certain way, maybe I don't know, other than human or humanoids, you can get pretty crazy. I think, for example, furries. People who can draw furries are actually really interesting because they can manipulate animal anatomy into a human one. I can't do that in any shape, way, or form. I don't know how to draw animals, manipulate that, and magically form that into cats. Well, I mean, with cats, for example, like I've seen my cat foot is actually like, if you were an actual person, human size, your foot would be like 800 feet longer than mine, and you would have no hands. Or no, like weird elbows, or I don't know, something like that. But to think of their bodies morphing into a human-like body, because they have, I forget what you call it, but because their hind legs don't characteristically have those our type of knees. I don't remember what it's called. To have them stand up, right, or have, because their body, I don't know, I'm going off tangent, and so, alright, people, I'm talking about people. Oh, one knows, unless, you know, it's like a cyclops or something like that. You can still follow general rules here and there, but you're gonna have to manipulate a lot of the stuff around the face shape. Or like having two-headed stuff. Like I said, I guess it depends on your style. My style is kind of, I think the best way to describe it is a lazy realism, because I take a lot of shortcuts and I don't generally care too much about, you know, getting all the wrinkles or doing all the little, like, really nice, pretty, detailed stuff that realism tends to have. I take shortcuts. If it's small enough, I won't do it. And if, you know, whatever. You know, that's the thing. Okay, so Alright, I gotta freaking get on track. Maybe I should have a script. Okay, so, okay, so that's gonna be what your face is, and that's how you're gonna draw a face. In terms of hairline, you can start anywhere, you know. You could get real crazy and have a really tiny forehead, like a no head. Seriously, it could be anything. Or you could start, maybe the person doesn't have hair. Maybe they're bald. Maybe they just got a crazy buzz cut. Who knows? And so it's up to you to decide whether or not to have a hairline. I like to have buzz cuts on a lot of people that I draw. So I want to know where the hairline is so I could replace that portion of hair where the hair should be with dots. And the dots kind of give you the visual idea that, hey, I shaved my head. So, yeah. Okay. So now that we're done with that bit, let's actually start drawing again. And, okay, so my Asian Superboy head character on the left is, like I said, he was just drawn up for the sake of the video. I just picked different characteristics that I liked and at the time and just drew it. Now the second part of this video is supposed to show you how to connect that head to a neck and then the shoulder and eventually the body. The body, let's just say the body portion is probably gonna end up being a crash course, I guess, on the. I can only do. Yeah. Let's see. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so here we're gonna have the neck. Now the neck, depending obviously on your style, once again, I guess the thing about when I draw necks is that the base of the neck tends to be, when I draw it, it tends to be thinner than when it's connected to the head. Obviously, I'm not saying it's gonna look like this, but when I first do a shorthand of it, that's what it usually ends up happening. And I'm not saying that this is actually the neck. This is supposed to be kind of like the indication of the tendons, the characteristic tendons that form a V shape, and then around that I create the muscles and then have it connect to, oh man, trapezius? Yeah, the trapezius muscles. I had to learn this. The only way I could pass gym in high school was to take a test. And the test involved us having to memorize all the muscles. And I still remember them because I'm a loser. Okay. No, but for real though, I think it's useful to know the muscles just so I can go to the chiropractor and be like, listen, my trapezius muscle hurts. You should fix that. Please help me. And, yeah, so, the trapezius is that kind of, that triangular muscle between your neck and your collarbone. And so, okay, for this, for him, for the at a 3/4 view, obviously your neck is turned, or you could just have him, you know, whatever. But the neck is going, because I have him at a 3/4 view, the neck is going to actually start in the back of his head, because obviously your neck extends beyond just your jawline. Like I said, I usually draw a kind of like that V shape as a shorthand of how the neck is gonna look or end up looking. depending on how muscular or how thin I want the person to look, is going to it's gonna determine how I'm gonna connect that V-shaped shorthand of the neck to the trapezius muscles. So first I drew, you know, like a really quick V shape, or it's gonna end up being a V. Two vectors, I guess you would call them. And I don't want him to be too thin. Maybe he's gonna be slightly muscular, not too muscular. Maybe like a in the food. And no, I don't know. No, I don't know. Maybe they're just growing up really fast, and it's really weird because explaining to his yeah, I don't. She broke my heart. She really messed me up. She broke my heart. The girl was like, actually not. And she was like, and she laughed at me and said, "Oh, that sucks. How did she break your heart?" What instance? Oh, that sucks. That sucks. What? No. Okay. Anyways, the girl was thoroughly confused, and she was like, "All right, I don't know what you're talking about." And he was like, "Well, anyway, I don't believe in love anymore. You know, I just believe in people." I don't know what that means. Maybe someone out there can translate that for me, and we can get past this. But like I said, the older I get, seeing teenagers look older than they are, but still have that teenage mentality, it throws me off like mad. Anyways, so while I was ranting, like I said, I didn't want him to be too thin, so I kind of showed that there is I wanted to show, okay, so, or like at least that same kind of area. So it's just drawing a bunch of lines, drawing a bunch of angles or triangle, kind of looking like triangles, to make it seem like he has. So drawing the collarbone to show that he has a little bit of, he's a little thin, so you're gonna see his clavicle. That's what it is, clavicle. And okay, so now when I draw the shoulders, it extends from this collarbone line, this clavicle line that I drew. And it all depends on how big you want to make that person. And so if he's gonna be really big, like a really big dude, who's just maybe like a Marine, he's gonna have really big muscles. So, and a characteristic trait of that are the deltoids, which are the tops of your shoulders. It's gonna be very big, and depending on how defined it is, it's either gonna go straight out from this clavicle line and drop straight down, or it's gonna kind of bulge out a little bit. So I'm gonna make it bulge out a little bit, only a little bit, because I want him to be, I guess, masculine-esque. And yeah, so I'm actually gonna, maybe I should do a breakdown of the muscles. Okay, so the muscles in the body, or the muscular system, I don't know, crap, biology. Okay, so, alright, so this is the head, obviously. This is the neck. So if I were to draw the body really fast. You know, this is the upper arm, the lower arm, the hand. Right? So, and the chest, the midriff, the hips, the thighs. Damn it. Okay. The calf muscles. We have a person, but what I'm gonna be covering is this top, right above the shoulders. Now, when you're drawing the muscles on a person, the deltoids, which I said were the top of the shoulders, are going to look like this. They're gonna look like chicken breasts, now that I think about it. A smooth, rounded edge for the shoulders, and it's actually gonna cut in right here because it's going to form your bicep. Muscles are going to form the size and, excuse me. Okay, so, and on the top, at the very top, the very tops of the deltoid muscles are the two lines that are going to form your clavicle, or define where your clavicle is going to be. So I'm going to draw these two lines, and right here, right above, maybe a little above that, because I don't, your collarbone bone, and this sloping shape right here is going to be where your trapezius muscles are. So this entire triangle portion right here is going to be where your trapezius muscle is. Now, if you want him or her to be very big, very muscular, almost like a professional bodybuilder, he or she is going to have ridiculous muscle definition. So the trapezius muscle on that person is going to be huge. It's going to be covering most of his or her neck. And the shoulder muscles are also going to be very big. Right? The head is going to stay the same shape, so it's going to look like the dude is being engulfed by his muscles. Or the dudette. Now if the person was very thin, very skinny and lanky, that person is not going to have that much muscle definition and is probably going to be defined mostly by the skeletal structure. So instead of having all this muscle showing, you're probably gonna, you see the clavicle right here? Yeah, that's gonna definitely pop out. But it's also gonna pop out right where your shoulder, right here. That's gonna be a lump, and then it's gonna gently slope down. There's gonna be this little lump right here, and not too much of the muscle. And the trapezius muscle is going to dip in. Most of the time it dips in, or is almost non-existent on a really thin person, a very lanky person. And the neck muscles are going to be very thin as well. So it's going to look completely different. Cave. Oh man, trapezius muscle. Oh my gosh. Okay. And his or her deltoid muscles are going to be next to nothing, and the clavicle is going to show. Is a bodybuilder it's going to be the opposite. Everything's going to be protruding outward, and it's going to be convex. So I'm gonna go, at least for this character, too much muscle definition, but not, I don't want the muscle definition to be almost non-existent. That's not what I want. I just want to have enough so that it looks like he is fit. And if you notice, the clavicle, where the clavicle and the trapezius muscles are located, there's, you know, like sometimes there's like this little dip. And I always find it fascinating when people can flex their trapezius muscles, and it creates like this weird dip between their clavicle and their neck. It's like, it's weird. It's a very deep, it becomes very deep, and it can retain water. And I remember like just talking to a bunch of guy friends who are very skinny and by nature had abs because they were so skinny and lanky. They were able to do this, where they were able to flex it, and we were in the pool, and they were just like, "Oh look, I have pools in my neck," and I was like, that's stupid. Okay, anyway, yeah, no, it's not stupid. It's just, I don't get it. Back in, trying to define all the little nuances. So I'm going in, making sure to get rid of too many of these sketchy lines. Them. Don't have a complete line, I guess. Partial lines, your eye will automatically complete. It's one of the many joys of our brain and optics working together in harmony. Your eye will complete the picture. You don't always have to draw all the lines interconnecting, because your mind knows that that's supposed to form this shape or whatever. And okay, so yeah, so I'm just drawing a little bit more, just kind of getting the idea that, okay, this is the, oh, I don't really want to create a new layer. I'm gonna yeah, we're gonna start lining this. Okay, so when it comes to redrawing the face, your sketch is going to look, you know, it's gonna look a little messy, all that stuff, of course, but you have to make sure now that, because you're gonna finalize it, you're gonna have to make sure that everything's in the right place, or everything looks okay, because you keep staring at an image long enough, everything's gonna make sense. It's like, oh, that ear doesn't look elongated, or that hair lock, or that lock of hair is not gonna is flying in the right direction, and all this other stuff. If you look at it long enough, you're gonna convince yourself that it's gonna look okay. Not to say that it's not gonna look okay, but you gotta make sure. So the best way to do that is to look at the picture upside down, or, you know, flipped horizontally, mirrored, what I mean. And just kind of, you know, step away from it for a little bit and see it from a new perspective, so that you know whether or not that drawing is right. So right now I think it looks okay, but, you know, once you start finalizing it, you're gonna realize all the mistakes that you've made. So ta-da, I'm gonna flip it, and right away I know something's wrong with this thing. Okay, so now that I'm looking at it, his face is really big. You know, it's not always a bad thing. It's kind of weird. His neck. lot of things are wrong with it. I mean, you know, there are a lot of things I have to fix. But yeah, so what I'd like to do is I generally like to fix. In the final layer, I usually end up like skimming down it from, like, you always have to look at it in a different light in order to understand, like, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong. This is not right. And so I generally like to flip it, kind of play around with the shapes again and figure out, okay, this is good, this is bad, I should really do this again, I should really do that again, or whatever. And yeah, so there are quite a few things. Actually, fun fact, I tried to make this person look white. Didn't happen because at the same time I was also explaining how to make the person look Asian. And this is what happened. That's okay. Nothing wrong with the Asian Superboy. Actually, I've been looking at a lot of... Oh man, my friend that I met up with yesterday was talking about or losing eyes and mouth. It's not gonna turn into that kind of music. I haven't been listening to Korean music in a really long time. I'm out of the loop. I'm not cool anymore. Yeah, so of course I'm doing the hair because that's my favorite part. Don't care about anything else but hair. Who cares if the face is stupid and misaligned? The hair looks good. Whatever. And generally when you look at it, you know, flipped, don't get too comfortable. Crap. Don't get too comfortable looking at it. Flip it again every once in a while and be like, okay, that looks good, that looks okay, that looks better, etc., etc. Let's see. Yeah, so yeah, so just always go back and forth. Don't get too comfortable looking at the image in the same place. Or in the same way, I guess. Also, the ears are generally really fun to do because they're very simple. Not too complicated. Let's see. I get too lazy to use it, or I keep forgetting, at least in this, to use the liquify tool when it comes to like photograph, but I do it that way. I should start using the liquify. I should. And yeah, he does look. Let's see. I can make, if say you draw an eye, the top lid, right, and you draw the bottom lid. Now, when you draw eyes, the two corners of the eyes actually don't touch. It's only one corner of the eye that touches the top and bottom lid, and the other corner is actually so at least the top lid you can draw at a curve. Corner is gonna meet the other. So when I draw the eye for an Asian person, this top lid right here, where it doesn't meet the inner corner, or the where it doesn't meet the other lid, this is gonna be the eye, right, like this. But if you notice, go see someone, go see an idol, go online, boy their face, and if you'll notice, there's like this weird up and over, not up and over, there's like a weird reason there, this entire area right here, there's like a little line, a wrinkle of skin, indicating that the skin, the flesh of your face is gonna dip in towards your waterline. Now, I don't know what's gonna be the right eye of an and orbital crease socket. It's generally Asians have something called a monolid. Sometimes they'll have a crease, but the crease is very close to the eyelid. So it's just that, but there's no orbital crease. So in Caucasian, so this right here is Caucasian eyes, obviously. I mean, Western features, Eastern features, whatever, it all changes. So it honestly doesn't matter. But for this person, I'm gonna try to make him look more white. And to do that is actually pretty easy, I think. Like I said, the outer corner is gonna touch. And he's gonna have an orbital crease, like I said. Whoa. It's a little anime-y. It's a little anime, but yeah, it's whatever. I told you I have a lazy realism style. And now he's cross-eyed. Well, yeah, you kind of get the idea. For some reason, I can't draw white people anymore. Okay, so... But yeah, this is... It tends to... Kinda. He looks kinda stoned. I want it to droop. Oh, he looks like... He kinda reminds me of... Maybe I'm crazy, but he kinda reminds me of Gecht. If you guys know who he is. Maybe it's the hair. But yeah. It's actually a lot easier to do without the sketchy lines. I know where everything is now. But yeah, you know, it obviously depends. You're gonna have more time to change it later on if you don't like it. And so, let's see. Oops. Okay. So I'm gonna flip it again because, you know, it changes obviously. Also, it helps to be more familiar with ethnic features. Kind of wish I had. It's just, it helps to be very observant, and as a helpful hint, you can look at other people but don't stare at them too long because they'll think you're either weird or trying to hit on them. And it's a very uncomfortable thing to try to explain. It's like, oh no, I'm just looking at you because I want to know what you look like, or like I want to know who you are, I guess. I don't know. It's weird to explain. And It's, yeah, just be careful. Don't stare at people too long. It's very weird. Anyway, yeah. So moving on. Okay, so you know, once going back, flipping it, like I said, where he's like whipping around real fast or like trying to hit somebody, maybe I'll extend the neck and make it a little exaggerated, but this is not the case. I don't want that right now. That looks all the way down here and meet his shoulder. And so yeah, I'm gonna draw this. Just gonna pick it up here. Get rid of the sketch line. Don't wanna mess it up again. Now I'm drawing. I like to draw the skeletal structure of the skeletal of whatever, the muscles, musculature, I don't know, in the person, just to know where everything is supposed to go. It's a little more familiar. Obviously you don't have to do this, and this is something obviously as a personal preference, but it really helps to know what the anatomy of a person is going to look like, the innards, the way the person is going to look is going to be determined by, you know, their their physical appearance is going to be obviously determined by their skeleton, their muscles, their muscle development, etc. So I'm just trying to do that here real fast. And I've always done this since high school, because high school anatomy was the first class that I took. And it was so useful. It really changed the game. And it made me more appreciative of the human body. And I have his arm. This is his underarm, his armpit. That would be his armpit. But that's not the case. If I were to draw the pectoral muscle down further below and have the deltoid muscle come down further, like this, it would look like he was twisting. So that's his elbow would be actually here if I were to draw it this way. If I were to draw it the other way, like this, and his bicep were here, it would make more sense to have his elbow would still be in the same place. It's just that it would be probably foreshortened, and his hand would be here. You know, okay, so, you know, it depends on how you want to pose the person, the figure. And so, you know, posing is obviously everything when it comes to this kind of stuff, but switch it again. Let's make my opacity lighter so I can see. Man, live streamers are intense. I don't know how you guys can keep recording for so long. Oops. Okay, so I mean, this is basically supposed to just show you how to draw a face, but face, I guess, and a neck, leading eventually to the upper body. Okay, so I guess I'll cover a little bit about shading here, at least shading the face, and I have a little more Asian. See, he already does not have where his eyelid would be, but if I were to... Growing up, I was getting my eyebrows plucked, and it's kind of because my face, or style, you know, like I style my characters in whatever way I want. I can do that to my own face. And so, it's kind of like this. That's my mentality on this. Yeah, so what I'm doing here is just kind of reducing the sharp edges in his face. Kind of, not dulling it down, but making it a little less prominent in certain areas. Yeah. And it's a weird thing because I noticed that with a lot of, at least Korean men tend to have a prettier lips than Korean girls. I don't know why that's the case. They tend to have like really big lips, or like really defined lips, and then the Korean girls don't. Is it? I don't know what the deal is. They're like super pretty. I don't know. You should go check it out. Go look up a bunch of Korean idol groups, and then you know you'll see like the comparison. If I were just to look at lips, it's not always pretty. Okay, so I tried to make him a little more Asian-ish. Kind of, yeah. I'm not saying all Asian guys look like this, obviously, and I'm not saying that, you know, Asians always have to have these kind of eyes or these kind of noses, or, you know, white guys always have to look like this or girls have to look like that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that in order to make a character look a certain way, you're gonna have to be more observant about the way they look. And that requires reference. So okay, so at least for this one, he's supposed to look Asian. If I were to make him, okay, maybe I should make him look surprised, so that it's kind of more of a direct comparison. Is it messed up that I just kind of left him with the same eye shape and just made his iris smaller? Maybe. But whatever. Okay, so okay, so let's more or less their skull. Upper lip, right below the neck, the chin, jaw, where it rests on the neck, and hair. Well, obviously the shadow cast by the by your hair. Let's see. And you know, depending on excuse me, your eyes and stuff. But let's just go to the more obvious areas. So I'm gonna pick. I'm like super digging these wash brushes, and it's gonna be usually under the eye. It's kind of big. Wow. Giving him eyeshadow. Nothing's wrong with eyeshadow on a dude. It's not what I want right now, though. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out the best texture. There was one textured brush that was like super, it was really beautiful. And oh, is it this one? I think it was this one. Yeah. This one. Good. Kind of light. It's not too prominent. Oh crap. There's not really there is a little bit of shadow, not too much. It's kind of more along the lines of the creases and stuff. And definitely under the nose. And kind of below your, it dips down into kind of like a triangle shape, or like an upside down triangle shape, because the bottom at the end of at the bottom of your nose, it leads into the upper lip, which is that little dip between your lips and your upper lip, and that's called, well, I forget what it's called. The actual name of it, but it's called the Cupid's bow, and it kind of dips down, so it leaves kind of that shadow. I'm gonna try different. This should be graphite. I like this one. This one's okay. Girl, don't be shady. Alright, now the cheekbones, I like to it's kind of contouring your face. The whole point of contouring your face for makeup, kind of leading up to your brow bone, you contour your cheeks, the underside of your jaw, just a little bit, and your temples. And these are all the points that you, I mean, obviously you don't have to do, but contouring those shapes, at least in makeup, when it comes to makeup, it's to define your face, and to shape it in whatever form you want. In this case, we're just doing it so that you can kind of see a little bit more of the person's face, to highlight, bring it out a little more. And because he has a cleft chin, he's gonna have a little dimple on the underside of his chin. You just do large swoops or large strokes on when shading. I love Gundam Wing. Truth be told, Gundam Wing, DBZ, and Cardcaptor Sakura were the only things that I watched growing up. Of course I watched, you know, like Sailor Moon and stuff, but it wasn't part of my daily routine as much as the others were. And I tend to watch more of the American cartoons. Although Voltron wasn't American, I mean, it shouldn't have, but it did, because they were really good, and they were playing on Cartoon Network when I was younger. But that's what I do. Like I said, from afar. For this demonstration, I'm gonna do the liquefy tool. I'm gonna zoom in here. Get all in there. Oh crap, it's too big. I'm just gonna bring it in a little bit because his face was a little janked up. And yeah. Drawings, and I was like, oh crap, I can't.